So it is worth going through it. And today we are going to focus on mixtures. But before that, let us try to understand the whole structure again. So matter, we know that matter is exist in three states. Every day what we encounter exist in three states. So solid, liquid and gases. Solid, liquid and gases. And you see solids have definite shape and definite volume. But liquids have definite volume but not shape because they take the shape of the container. Gases do not have volume, they do not have shape because, and if you can choose to just put the entire gas in a small container, or you can just open the container, the gas fills up the entire room. So they do not have definite volume or definite shape. But this matter can be classified into two major categories. We said yesterday, one is pure substances, the other one is mixtures. Pure substances, and here they are mixtures. And pure substances are nothing but either elements and compounds. So compounds through chemical means. So pure substances are either at elements or compounds through chemical means. Through chemical processes, you can just break the compounds into simpler substances. And these elements are nothing but atoms. So the atoms can be broken into or made into simpler particles like nuclei or nucleus and electron. And electron cannot be further divided, whereas nucleus can be further divided into protons and neutrons. But protons and neutrons are made up of important smallest particle called quarks. Different composition of quarks lead to either neutron or a proton. The other way around is quarks make up protons and neutrons, neutrons and protons make up nuclei, and nuclei and electrons together make up elements, and elements of, different atoms of elements, two or more combine to form compounds, and these two are together form pure substances. Pure substances composition is uniform. Composition is uniform in throughout the state. Composition is uniform throughout the state. But here is what we are going to focus at now: mixtures. Mixtures you can classify into two major categories. One is homogeneous homogeneous mixtures. The other ones are heterogeneous mixtures. Heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures, once again the composition is uniform, but two or more substances will be mixed. Mixtures are nothing but two or more pure substances mixed physically, but they do not combine chemically. So uh, two or more pure substances mixed together form mixtures. But when two or more substances mixed, they do not combine chemically. They do not combine chemically. So these pure substances retain their properties in the mixtures. The pure substances retain their properties in the mixtures. For example, when you mix, suppose assume that rice is a pure substance and sambar is a pure substance. When you mix, the rice is still the rice, sambar is still the sambar. So that taste, the sambar retains the taste of its own, and rice retains its property of its own, so they do not change. But when, as I gave example, hydrogen and water, when they combine chemically, that forms compounds. So when the pure substances or elements combine to form compounds and they combine chemically, here they are just mixed together, they do not combine chemically. So homogeneous mixture again is constant composition, composition. I'll explain the constant composition here and constant composition here. If you take water and everywhere it is just water particles, everywhere it is just water particles. Whatever the small amount of thing you take from a glass of water, everywhere it is a water particle. But homogeneous solutions, I'll tell you, mixtures are called pure solutions or clear solutions. How is that? Suppose you have a glass of water, use add sugar and stir it up. So sugar is actually a 12 hydrogen and 22 hydrogen and 12 carbon and 11 oxygen atoms combined to form one sugar molecule, and water is 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen molecule. When you mix these two, everywhere water molecules will also be there and sugar molecules will also be there. Every small amount of sample, when you take, in each small amount of sample you will always get 20 sugar molecule and 100 water molecules. Same amount of sample, if you divide the entire thing in each portion, if you get equal number of water molecules and sugar molecules, the same composition. Suppose when you take a small composition, 10 sugar molecule and 100 water molecules are there. Everywhere if you get the same amount, then the composition is same. Moreover, the particles of sugar is also not seen. The particles of water is also not seen. Such kind of solutions are clear solutions. Such kind of solutions are called clear solutions. And the composition, the particles are not visibly distinguishable. Visibly distinguishable. Not visibly distinguishable. But heterogeneous mixtures, you'll be able to see it. See, heterogeneous mixtures again can be classified as colloids and suspensions. Simple example will make you understand. Same water we will take. In the water, if you pour sand, the sand particles are visible everywhere in the water. So the particle size is very large in water. So water plus sand. Okay, here when you make the water to stand still for a longer duration, all the sand particles, most of the sand particles collect at the bottom. It leaves the water almost clear at the top. So this is called a suspension. A suspension is a mix of water and sand particles with the particle sizes large. But here in homogeneous solutions, though we say that it's a large molecule, aggregate molecules, but the size is still smaller than the sand particles. That is why you are not able to see the particles with your naked eye without any help of the equipment. But colloids, let me take the same example. Water is there and you add Dettol particles. So here Dettol is also a complex molecule. I mean complex in the sense it's a heavier molecule. See, it is C8H9OCl. So 8 carbons, 9 hydrogens, 1 oxygen and 1 chlorine. They combine to form a chemical called chloroxylenol. This chloroxylenol is mostly a part of a Dettol, but Dettol has other component also. But when you add Dettol, it turns milky white. But you will not be able to see any particles here. It turns uniformly milky white. You don't see the particles, but these particles are still floating around. They won't settle. Here suspension, the particles settle. But in clear solutions and colloids, particles do not settle. Upon standing. So how do you then differentiate suspension and a colloid? So a heterogeneous mixture, example of heterogeneous mixture is a suspension and a colloid, and homogeneous mixtures are called clear solutions. The clear solution, the particles are not visible for the naked eye. Even for the colloids, the particles are not visible for the naked eye. Whereas for suspensions, the particles are visible. The particle sizes. Suppose if you write particle sizes, we call Clear solution, solute particles. So the particles are very small. The particles are very small in case of solutions or clear solutions, and they are colloids. For colloids, the particle sizes are large, and we say that, let me say like this, the particle sizes are even large, and for suspension it is very large. So here for suspension it is visible, and for colloids still not visible, but yet they do not settle. So they do not settle, and they settle, and clear solutions also the particles do not settle. But you see, whether homogeneous mixture or a heterogeneous mixture is a mixture of two or more pure substances. So through physical processes, these clear solutions, homogeneous or heterogeneous solutions, can be separated into pure substances. Whether it is a compound or elements, we can separate that. They are physical processes. Physical means we call physical processes. There are three major physical processes that we use. One is distillation, distillation. Other one is filtration, filtration. The other one is chromatography. That's what we are going to look at. Chromatography. Chromatography we're going to look at. So let us just look at this portion clearly. Mixtures, homogeneous mixtures, heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures are clear solutions. We cannot see the particles. We cannot see the particles with the help of a naked eye. But colloids and suspensions, colloid particles yet not seen, but suspensions, the particles are seen. So these are all called solutions still. So what is present in small amount is called solute. What is present in large amount is called solvent. Here water is present in large amount and sugar is present in small amount. So in this solution, solvent is the water and sugar is the solute. So for any solutions, they have two major components. One is solute, the other one is solvent. The solvent is present in large amount, and solute is present in small amount, small amount. This solute particles, when they are very small, they make up clear solutions. Moreover, it should mix. Okay. Moreover, the miscibility also matters. And if they are large and very large, they form colloids and suspensions. These colloids and suspensions, the mix is not homogeneous. The mix is not homogeneous, and the composition is not constant. So for colloids and suspensions, composition is not uniform. For clear solutions, composition is uniform. Composition is uniform. When the composition is uniform, we call it single phase. They have single phase. When the composition is uniform, we call it single phase. It does have a clear solutions have only one phase, but colloids and suspensions, they do not have a single phase. They have multiple phases through across them. So that means the composition is not uniform throughout the solution or something. So here again, the solutions can be of different types based on solvent and solute. Suppose if you take large amount of air and small amount of smoke particles are solids, but air is a gas. So gas plus solid gives you air and smoke. So this is solid in air solution, solid in air solution. But again, there are also like liquid in air solution is also there. Large amount of air, but small amount of moisture or fog or something, that is liquid in air solution. Atmospheric air is an example of a air in air solution. You say large amount of carbon dioxide and small amount of oxygen and small amount of hydrogen. When you mix, this is air, this is air, and this is air. So you get air in air solution. Air in air solution. Like that we have different. Suppose if you look at alloys, alloy is say, let us say copper, and you add manganese. So manganese also solid, copper is also solid. So solid and solid. So you have solid in solid. Like that you have solid and solid, solid and liquid, and you can also have air in solid. Suppose if you look at sponge is a solid. In that solid there are small particles of gas, I mean gaps. In that gaps air is there, so it is a sponge is a air in solid. So liquid and liquid is there. Suppose you mix water with bromine or some other chemical which is in liquid form, you can mix. So you can also have liquid and liquid. Like that we have different combination of solution. We have different types of solutions. So let's look at that part again. It's very important to look at mixtures. Mixtures are homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures, and heterogeneous mixtures are suspensions and colloids, and these are called clear solutions. So it's a very important point to look at. So mixtures are two or more, mix of two or more pure substances. Mixtures are homogeneous mixtures, heterogeneous mixtures, heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures are called clear solutions, and heterogeneous mixtures, one is a colloid, the other one is suspension suspension suspension. Okay, and the particle size of the solute particles in clear solution are very small, and here the particles that present very small amount are very large, I mean larger than the solute particles in solutions, and in suspension those particles are even larger. But basically this, whether it is a homogeneous mixture or heterogeneous mixture, these two are all made up of two or more substances only. So you can just separate these mixtures into pure substances, So how do we separate mixtures into pure substances? Through physical processes. Physical Through physical processes you can separate mixtures into pure substances. We employ different physical processes. The important physical processes that we are going to list are three major physical processes. One is distillation, the other one is filtration, then the other one is chromatography. See, based on the type of particles that are mixed. So the clear solution, I have given an example like water plus sugar. Colloid, I give an example of like water plus Dettol. And suspension, I gave an example like water plus sand. These colloid particles have, how do you differentiate colloid from clear solution? Because in both the particle sizes are not visible, then how else do we do? I'm going to give an example like this. If you look at this example, let me just show you. Look at this example. This is where water with sugar is there. This is water with little Dettol is there. When you send light from this direction, using a torch, the path of the light is visible in water plus Dettol, but in water plus sugar, the path is not visible. So this is a clear solution. This is a colloid. The colloidal particles scatter light. The colloid particles scatter light, and hence the path is visible. So the path is visible. So this phenomena is called Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect. It's the name of a scientist. So when light passes through a colloid, the colloidal particles, because the sizes of the particles are relatively large, they scatter light. So because they scatter light, the path of the light is visible, and that process is Tyndall effect. Okay, so this is the kind of testing to find whether a particular thing is a colloid or not. Okay, now our objective is to separate them. Now water and sugar are there, they are mixed. You can't just have a filter paper here and pour water, I mean water plus sugar solution, and it just won't, all the sugar solution will fall down here. Still it is water plus sugar. You can't use filtration here because the particle sizes are so small, so they can't be filtered using a filter paper. What else do you do? So you will be doing one more thing. So sugar is a solid, water is a liquid. The boiling point of water is less, whereas boiling point of sugar is more. So what you do, you have this setup and you heat it up. Here you have sugar sugar solution. Then here you keep a glass slightly inclined. When you heat it, the water begins to boil first. The water vapor, the steam will go and hit the glass. There it condenses. Suppose if you just cool it down from here, it will condense and you will find liquid water droplets. This water droplets drip through this and you can collect it separately. This will be a pure water. So rain is an example of such things. Through evaporation, even though water is evaporated from the large ocean area, but still what goes up is only the pure water, and the salt is retained in the ocean itself. That water comes down as rain. The rain is a good water, then that is potable water. So it's a pure water. So if two or more substances are mixed, they have different boiling points. If in a mixture substances have different boiling points, different boiling points, they can be separated using distillation. Look at water plus sand, which are sand particles are really large, especially with the suspension. This works. You have a container, have a filter paper like a funnel, and you pour water, and the sand will be collected here. Only water goes down, so it's a clear water. So you can use filter paper with ashes, etc. It all just retains the large sand particles here. Only clear water goes down. So filtration is possible. Filtration is possible when the particle sizes, when there is different particle sizes, particle sizes, we can employ filtration to separate substance. So a mixture can be separated into pure substances with the help of filtration if the particle sizes of the mixtures are different. And here, if when the boiling points are different, we use this. And there is one more property which we call mobility, if the mobility of the substances that make up the mixtures are different, we can use chromatography. For example, you just have a glass plate. In that you put one drop of green ink and one drop of red ink and one drop of blue ink together. They will get mixed up, and that will have a different color. But what you do, just take one drop of it and keep it in a paper. So I'll use a different color for the paper. So I'll just keep it in a paper. This one I'll keep it in a paper here. So what happens, suppose if the blue ink particles are really large, they cannot move faster. So after some time you will find the paper, there's a special paper for that, contains only blue here. Then red here, and then green here. So what is the meaning of this? So the green ink particles moved faster. So in a particular time, they moved furthest from the point where we put the drop. So mobility is more, and red has less mobility than green, but has more mobility than blue. They moved faster. Now you cut up the paper here, you get only green. Then you put it in a solvent, you can separate green particles. Then here you can separate blue, red ink particles. In this, from this paper, you can separate blue ink particles, red ink particles, and green ink particles. And here you have separated using their mobilities. So if you have done it on a paper, this is called paper chromatography. Paper chromatography. What is chromatography? Chromato means color. Chromatography means the type of process. See, different colored molecules have different mobilities. Based on that, you are separating the substance. This is called paper chromatography. You have column chromatography, gas column chromatography, etc. Depends on, if the mixtures are gases, then you can also mix the gas, separate the gas using that gas chromatography, etc. So this is the basic thing. Sometimes the mixtures are so complex, if there are a lot of substances are mixed. So if it is a complex mixture, so you may have to apply one or more processes together. First you have to do distillation to separate a few substances, and then you have to do filtration to separate few more substances, and then you have to apply chromatography to separate few more substances. So sometimes, to just, if it is a mixture and you are supposed to separate into simpler pure substances, pure substance 1, pure substance 2, pure substance 3, pure substance 4. And sometimes these two can be done with filtration, this can be done with distillation, and this can be done with chromatography. Okay, so these two can be done with chromatography. So this kind of thing, whether one or more physical processes we employ to separate a mixture into pure substances. Okay, so uh, here what you need to understand is, we are able to separate these three using physical processes called processes called chromatography, so and so, so and so. Because in the mixtures, pure substances retain their properties. Suppose if it is a compound, compound may be a molecule like water, or glucose C6H12O6, or sugar C12H22O11. So these are all like combined. These are all combined. If you want to separate these into carbon separately, hydrogen separately, and oxygen separately, you have to use chemical process. But in a mixture, they all present together, like water, H2O, C6H12O6, and C12H22O11. These are mixed together. So when you separate using physical processes, you can separate like water separately, and table sugar separately, and glucose separately. Like this you can just separate. This is called physical processes, can only separate into pure substances. The pure substances, in case of compounds, to separate into elements of an atom, to sorry atoms of an element, to separate into atoms of an element, you have to use chemical processes or chemical reactions. So chemical reactions separate compounds into atoms. Physical processes separate mixtures into pure substances, but they cannot be further broken down with the help of a physical processes. But to break this down into hydrogen and oxygen, you need chemical process. To break this into hydrogen, carbon and oxygen, you need chemical process. To break this into carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, you need chemical process. So I hope you have understood thoroughly of the matter, substances, mixtures and separation of mixtures. And tomorrow we will also be discussing about how to just represent a solution. We said in a solution, solution is a mixture. In the solution, what is present in small amount is a solute, and what is present in large amount is a solvent. So these things we are going to focus tomorrow, how to represent and how it is going to be convenient for us. So